Hey y'all, we're here at week 4 of Agentuity. Demo days on Friday. Let's see, February 28th, 2025. We had a really busy week here. We've got one of our compadres that's out. He had some family issues, so he's not going to be here today, but he didn't do too much this week probably anyway. So we'll pass it over to Bobby to kick us off.
Yep. Okay. So what I worked on this week was some of the key value stuff. This is just a short example, or simple example of how you might use this. So this agent takes in a topic and responds with some research about it. So how this works, right, is we take in the topic, we are going to check our key value store. And if we find something, we're just going to respond with the previous prompt response. And if not, we're going to run the prompt and set that to the key value storage and respond with the text. So that's just a reminder of what we've been doing with key value stuff. I'm going to show you some of the screens that I've been working on. So here under memory key value, you can create a new namespace. So let's do testing KV.
Bob, is it possible just to lower that? Yeah, lower that. You think you hit the right, it'll lower it. That little Google Meet thing's obscuring your view.
Oh, this guy right here?
Yeah, can you just...
I didn't even realize that was popping up. I thought it was like Zoom, that's it, invisible. Yeah, so we created this namespace. Now we can pop in here. We can create some keys for this namespace. So let's say my key, and let's do a value. Save this, and now we can see our key and the size and the TTL. We can also delete this key.
100 years.
Yes, 100 years. So I think our default. So that's the key value stuff. And then we can do the same kind of thing with a vector namespace, vector database. There we go, testing vector vision. Oop. Demo gods maybe are not supporting me in the vector, but it's very similar. With regards to CRUD screen. And then what else? We also put in this API key screen where you can go through and snag your API keys for your project if you lost them. That's it for me.
All right, pass it over to Robin.
All right. Let me share. Oh shoot, that's Discord. Stop sharing. This one with the faces. All right, so I'm going to show some of our new infrastructure stuff for updating all our machines. So over here I have our machine manager. Right now he's just looking at just one machine, keeping an eye on that one, pinging it, make sure it's alive. So now I'm going to, like let's say there's a new version of our, Bastion machine software ready out that we just want to release or something. We can signal it through a messaging protocol, and it'll get that. And then when it goes to do its next reconcile, it should indicate, it'll, tell the machine to update itself. And I have the logs here for our service on that machine. It's running in system B. So we'll just look here.
So this is basically updating to another get job, basically.
Yep. And there it goes. Look at that, update successful. Now we're on the latest version. And then one other thing, when it comes to our messaging protocol, we want to be really careful with data. Close to this, right? Oh, yeah, look at that, restarted. I'm going to be careful with data. So one thing we just implemented is, let's say I got access to our messaging network, which is you. Any messages I aliased it. I'm trying to look through, see what prompts are people sending. Oh, okay. Let me just look. This looks like basic C4. I'll go ahead and decode that. Is there? Yeah, there it is. Oh no, it's encrypted. So as soon as we get a prompt or anything coming into our system, we actually encrypt it right there, and we'll do a key stuff so that it's actually encrypted and finally decrypted on the machine that's running it. So that's that. I'll stop.
All right.
Cool.
That's awesome. Go for it, Rick.
All right. Lots of updates today. Let's do this. Move this over here. Okay, so where do I start? Because there's a lot. Let me just go through everything. So project list screen, it's revamped and it's rewired to our new OTel data. So we switched everything from Jeff did pretty much all this work, but we switched everything from the session stores that we were doing in Postgres. We moved them into ClickHouse, and we're using OTel, the open telemetry format. And so we switched everything to that, which is awesome. It's way better. So I'm really happy about that. So like the project list screen is different. And then you'll see these are the traces. We're calling them sessions, but in the OTel world, they're traces, right? And so you can see that one took 4 seconds. This took 10 seconds. This is a failed one. You can click into it and it'll go, I'll show you that screen in a minute, and it'll show you the traces for that session, that agent run. Let's jump into it. I'll go ahead and just go to the sessions. So this is like your recent sessions or traces. You can click into it and then boom, look at that. There's a trace, get a bunch of stuff there. You can jump right to the logs for just that session that the agent ran. You can see how, we need to remove that first line. It took 2 seconds, and then here's the breakdown. This is using the Vercel's AI SDK. So it was a generate text. This took about 400 milliseconds. I think we're using, if I click on it, you can, I was using GPT-4o there, and you can see what it spit out there. So kind of cool. Matt is working on the design of this right now. This was my first pass of it, but he's going to make it prettier than it already is. And then it does a couple other things like make an HTTP request and stuff like that. So kind of cool. Then you can actually click view logs, and it'll jump to the log screen, and it'll have the filter by the session ID. So now this is all that session and all the logs for it, which is kind of cool. So that is that. Also, you notice we animated the timeline, which is really cool. Deployments, I added a detail screen. It's kind of bare bones right now, but we need one because we're going to put stuff on it. But then also when you go into deployment, you click view deployment logs, and it'll filter that deployment. You'll see there's the deployment ID. So just the logs for that deployment, which is kind of cool. It's not wired up yet, but I'll go ahead and show you the detail UI that I did. This is all mock data. So if you go to an agent in your project, you'll get what's there, what things it used. So if it used it, like Bobby showed the KV store or the vector store, if it used it, it'll show it. What integrations are enabled. Where Jeff just enabled the LLM cost usage cost by project, by run. So in a trace, you'll be able to see it. But then also we want to aggregate it per agent, so you can see how much the agent is costing you. And then it's just another view to see like the deployments this agent was part of, and you can click to see the sessions. And then again, not wired up, but the idea is every agent you'll be able to interact with as well. So then we'll give you a couple different ways to do that, which is kind of cool. And then to wrap it up, I was prototyping some UI on our integrations. So there's global organization integrations, and then there's project specific integrations. So like in this case, this project, you would want to enable GitHub deployment. So then you'd point to the repo, and then connect repository. And then now anytime you merge to main, we'll just automatically run Agentuity deploy, and it'll be there. So that's the concept there. Slack is a little different. I don't even know if we can do all this, but this is what I would like to do, is be able to point to an agent. So in this case, this is my customer service agent. Give it a special at my service, which would be cool. And then you say he's available on these channels, and then save the configuration. And then now we've enabled that agent to be, so you can ping that agent in Slack that way. So then that way, when you send something to it, it'll be text, Slack, or whatever, and then it'll be there. So anyway, that's an example of that. And then similarly, SMS, kind of the same idea. You can provision a phone number. You'll be able to select from a list once we have this wired up to the provider. And then you can say, hey, for this one, I want the knowledge-based search agent to have its own phone number. And now you can send it a text message, and then it'll kick off that agent's workflow. So yeah, that's, I think, oh, one more thing, I'll stop sharing. One more thing is, so Devin is our new team member. We added a new team member called Devin.
No, he's such a good
agent.
intern.
Oh man, such a good intern. And so one of the things, it was kind of funny. I actually asked Devin, I said, hey, we did so much stuff in the last 6 days. What are we supposed to talk about in demo day? So it actually gave us everything that each of us committed in the last 6 days and what we should talk about. So it was kind of funny. But anyway, so Devin, which we're gonna have to figure out a way to give it a voice, by the way. So we can ask it what it did this week, and then we can do 11's lab voice, and then maybe Devin can be part of demo day. But it wrote up all the documentation for our SDKs, our CLI, and then it fixed a bunch of smaller things too. But the nice thing is, I mean, it was probably like 50 different documentation and markdown pages that it wrote in our documentation site, which is great. So it's a great start. That's it for me. Jeff, your turn.
That's awesome. Devin intern is going to put us out of work when he grows up. Okay, I worked on a bunch of different things this week. One of the big things is not really demoable. You kind of saw some of it via Rick's demo, is the moving to our new data store infrastructure for how we store metrics, logs, telemetry, traces, et cetera, and sort of all the enrichment that we're doing in real time as that data sort of is aggregated from all these agents. So did all the infrastructure work for that and wiring some of that up to the SDK and kind of revamping a lot of the SDK. I also did later in the week, I've done a bunch of work around agent to agent communication, which I won't demo today, but like for agents to be able to like collaborate with other agents inside their inside your project. So I did a bunch of work around wiring that up, and then I did a bunch of work around the CLI. So I'm going to demo some of the CLI stuff, a little bit more visual. And it's just a normal project here. So let me just clear this out, and I'll just sort of show a few things. So Agentuity, you now have a project list view, so you can kind of go out and see all the projects, even if they're not on your local machine, which is really nice. You can, of course, do, remove a project and auto toggle one or more projects if you want. You can also, of course, create a project. You can do the same with agents now. So agents kind of first-class citizen. So I can, if I'm in a project folder, I can go see what agents I have, and also any kind of reconciliation. Maybe I have some pending agent that I haven't pushed yet or deployed it yet, so you can sort of see that information. And as well as you can create agents as well, or delete an agent as well. And deleting an agent basically removes it kind of from your local project, but also syncs it to the cloud as well. So it removes it from the cloud deployment, so it can't be routed to or anything like that anymore. You can also create a new agent. Right now it's self-directed. We are working on an agentic version of this, but right now you can just sort of say, my third agent, whatever, and give it a description, et cetera, and it'll create the agent. And then, you should be able to see the agent. Oh, sorry. You should be able to see the agent here, and then it just created the agent inside your source, whatever framework you're using. In this case, I'm using Fun. And then you can just one time run it. So the other thing you can do, I worked a lot on the new design around creating projects. I really focused this week on some of the UI around light mode and dark mode terminals, because we had a little bit of an issue, as well as some of the layout, making sure some of the layout reflows and things like that in the terminal, if you were to resize, if you had a small terminal versus a larger terminal. So I'll just create, new agent, or sorry, a new project. And then we have this new screen around frameworks. I haven't wired up some of the Python yet, but you can sort of see where this is going to go. You select your framework, in this case, Bun or Node with Vercel SDK. We'll have a bunch of different things here, and it's pretty cool because you can filter and search and do a bunch of things as we have a lot more of these. And then at that point, it just creates your agent. Let me just finish this. Actually, I'll just do it one more time. And as you saw there, it'll validate. So I'm just going to create an agent. And then I did work a little bit on some of the ergonomics after you first create an agent, a little bit more niceties around, next steps and some of the visual stuff, as well as, like I said, some of the dark mode and light mode versions of all of this. And that's pretty much it for me. I think that kind of wraps us up for the week, since we're missing our fifth leg here. But it's been a great week. Thanks for watching, and see you next week. Peace out.